When I'm controlling devices and I say, I have a new iOS image, I can't make people do it. I can notify them, ready them and everything, but I can't make them push the OK. So what do I do? Well, I turn them off, right? And everybody, usually in the executive suite, goes, oh my God, I can't do that to my executives. It's like, well, your HR team is going to have to go to them and tell them that they either do it or it gets turned off. That's the reality, right? So the way you do business, your policies in your company, that'll also change too. This is a big shift, right? It's a great one because we've been waiting for the internet 2 or the advent of something big to happen. It's here. Cloud and WAN architecture. So clearly, if you're not moved to a more IP-centric wide area architecture like MPLS, or even more so with communications SIP, you need to. Why? Because you need more bandwidth, you need more quality of service, you need to connect in more places. Perfect example of some real value around that, Avaya, which is a communications provider, they have a company they acquired called Xirrus, which is their gateway into the SIP cloud. Now why is that relevant? Is that I can take a native device, an iPad, running their native application, which is Avaya Flare, which you'll see in a little bit, and I can call through the cloud directly into my company. I don't have to VPN in, I don't have to put any magic infrastructure. I can go right through that infrastructure of the world via a protocol directly into my company and talk natively. So think of the amount of resources and things, complexity that go away by allowing me to put technology in place like that. And that's a pretty standard device when you go to SIP. So I don't want to get too technical. So are you ready? Will your network work today, right? The answer is more than likely no. As you've seen, a lot of customers have gone, and it's funny when you get Xirrus as an example to come in and do a site survey, you're going to say, oh, there's probably about 2,000 or 3,000 devices on my network. Almost every time that they do a site survey, it's more than double that, if not more. Because everybody's turned their iPhone on, everybody's turned their iPad on, and all kinds of other devices. So, how do I manage that? So, business-ready applications. So, where I'm going to concentrate, like I said, is on collaboration. I'm going to focus on this because this is one that I think you all need to be aware of. I don't know what vendors you have within your environment. They're all obviously moving in this direction, but we're going to talk about that. Clearly, there's all kinds of applications. I'm going to show you a really cool one at the very end of my talk here. So, as far as Avaya is concerned, a lot of customers out here probably have Avaya in their environment. There's a new product that's come to market along with their Aurora strategy called Flare. And if you haven't seen it, I'm going to show a demo in a few seconds. But basically, what they've done is taken collaboration and made it drag and drop running on an iPad. I have taken my phone, email, IM, chat, and collaboration, as far as web conferencing, put it into a single interface, and it's all drag and drop. So I can give this to anyone, enable this for anyone, to be able to utilize not only their device, but allow them to simply work. Simply work, right? This isn't complex anymore. Obviously, they make applications for mobile phones, obviously for the computers, the Macs, PCs, etc. Cisco, same story. Cisco's got their own version of a tablet out there. They are now coming out through demand. Obviously, the world is a very big iPad-driven environment, has what they call Cisco Jabber, which is going to be a video, voice, collaborative tool running on your iPad or iPhone. At any one time on my iPad, and if you guys afterwards want to see it, I can video conference with Hawaii, Atlanta, anywhere. I can call anybody, I can do anything on my iPad. And that same thing goes for my iPhone, right? Obviously, video conferencing is a transition that we are making. I'm not sure how many of you have gone down that path, but clearly that is a major component, right? Every kid 25 and under, I have 4 of them, they all do Skype. They're all online. My son sits there and plays Xbox, throws his Mac next to him, and has his girlfriend there sitting with him, talking to him while he's playing Xbox. Go figure, right? So they are interacting fully live all the time, right? So your up-and-coming workforce expects this to happen. Life size. So this is one that we focus on in particular at TIG. Lifesize, if you've not seen it of late, has a new application called ClearSea. The cool thing about ClearSea is I can run it on an iPad, I can run it on an iPhone, I can run it on a Mac, I can run it on a PC, I can run it on anything. Okay, now what's really cool about that is, what is the typical thing that's held you back in video in the past? Well, one, it was very complex in many cases, it's expensive, you know, in putting video conferencing into rooms, and then the software itself was expensive, right? Well, guess what? What they've done is they've created a transit server that sits within your DMZ that allows you to pass inside and out, so you can have video calls with anybody, in or out of your corporation. The software that goes on your devices is free. You don't pay for clients anymore. What you pay for is the number of ports that's going to come through your server or your bridge capability, right? You can only bridge so many based on what you have in your environment. The point is I can be a university, give every student that application on whatever device they want, and they can do video conferencing when the class demands they need to do video conferencing. That applies to all of us. So I pull up ClearSea all the time. I show people on my iPhone or on my iPad what the weather is in Hawaii. I can pull up the camera, I can pan it around, I can do everything. Just like I was sitting in that really expensive boardroom that only a select people get to use, I can enable this for everybody. Now, clearly all these applications that I'm talking about, bandwidth intensive, yes. Quality of service intensive, yes. Require real architecture and real infrastructure to do that, right? But this is where you got to build for. This is what you got to keep in mind. This is what TIG does for you. This is what I spend my time, trying to guide you to be in the right place. I spent 10 years at Cisco, 4 years at Avaya. My background was about building convergence and unified communications and getting you to these end states with the network of the past. Now we have to build the network of the future. So web collaboration, I don't think anyone in this room has probably not touched WebEx or GoToMeeting. So if you've ever touched it, and if you've ever seen it on an iPad, it's awesome. Again, it works very simply. Matter of fact, it works on an iPhone as well. These type of applications are just natural and native, and the users love them. Why? Because they don't have to know much to get them to work. And I'm sure your corporations are asking for it. If they aren't, they're going to ask for it, right? So these are things that we can turn on and enable that allow us to work. Clearly, there's some things that you need to know and be guided through. It's not a Microsoft world anymore, as I'm sure you've all figured out. The challenge that we face and where we spend a lot of time with our customers, the same way we have to help you rewrite the rules at HR, we need to guide you in what applications are going to make sense for your company. Because clearly Microsoft Office isn't running on an iPad or an iPhone, so how do I do it? Especially if that becomes my standard platform. So Apple obviously has the answer, fully compatible applications through iWork, and this is something you have to get your users adjusted to, right? If they're not already. A lot of people have already bought Macs and making that transition. So I'm going to run a video here that talks about the Avaya Flare so you guys can kind of see it yourself. This is an example of, like I said, all the major vendors are starting to do. One in particular, one that might be of interest to you guys, and I'll talk about it in a second, is Mitel. So for you guys that are in the virtualization mode already, using things like VMware, Mitel can literally virtualize their whole environment. Cisco can do the same thing in their UCS platform. Avaya does some of their applications. They're all in different stages. But Mitel can actually put the whole thing in a VM state. The really cool thing about it, and I'll show it to you in a sample here, is that they can put their client on the VM state. Even though it's sitting virtually, I can make calls via my VM state and have access to communications. I don't have to have the app loaded specifically on my iPad. So if you really are one of those environments that wants to lock down and control everything, I can make a virtual app as well. So that's specific to them. Not everybody else has done it, but I have a feeling it's coming.
How do you make the world's coolest mobile device even better? Add the world's coolest collaboration application from Avaya. With Avaya Aura and the Avaya Flare communicator for iPad device, we have a mobile solution that will turn your Apple iPad device into a collaboration powerhouse. giving you virtually all the tools you need to stay connected anytime and anywhere with just the swipe of a finger. Need to make a call? Simple. Drag and drop the person you're calling into the intuitive spotlight and use voice over IP from a Wi-Fi hotspot or 3G carrier to connect. Imagine yourself in this situation. Your customer needs an answer from you regarding an important deal within the next hour. However, your schedule has you rushing to an appointment, and the only way to get the critical information you need is to pull in just the right people. Simply open the FLAIR Communicator application on your iPad device, connect to your enterprise, and check the presence indicators to see the availability of your colleagues. You find who you need, make a few phone calls, and chat over IM with the others. You quickly get the answers you need, follow up with the customer via phone directly through your iPad device, and still have time to answer emails and get back to a few colleagues with information they needed from you. Waiting in the lobby, a sigh of relief, all in a day's work. Only Avaya offers this truly unique software application that is built for real-time collaboration, allowing mobile employees to take their business on the road and make smarter decisions faster. Make phone calls, send an IM, manage contacts, and easily blend in mobile sales capabilities in a single, portable, unified enterprise workspace. So if you've ever wondered how to survive with only 2 hands in a world of gizmos and multitasking, now you know. Contact Avaya or an Avaya representative today.
So, pretty cool, right? I mean, we all still, believe it or not, in today's world struggle with how to do hold and transfer calls on that device that's been sitting there for the last God knows how many years, right? You saw this device, which is the iPad, which everyone pretty much knows how to use, right? It's a finger, and you drag and drop. It's that simple. I can create conferences by just simply dragging more into that spotlight, and then I can do the same thing via video as well. Very, very different than the way we've worked in the past. And the cool thing, I can be anywhere. I don't have to be inside my company to do this. So that's something you guys got to build for, right? My VPN, the way that I enter my company has to change. The way that I architect everything needs to change. So that's our value to you as from TIG. So I'm gonna go through 2 things here now. The point of these 2 slides are one thing is to show you the way the world was and today, which is Windows brought to the iPad. Ideally, you don't buy an iPad and want to go do Windows on it, right? It's not the right interface or device, honestly, but it can be done. And a lot of companies are doing it because clearly they made that investment in Microsoft. Over time, you're going to transition applications more natively. You're going to develop them yourself, which is many companies are doing. When you start doing mobile device management, you can create your own app store. You can control what users experience and what they can do. You can completely customize this environment. The interesting thing is the second slide that I'm going to show you, the second application, is something that's very new, that changes the way we do everything, or could do everything. And it's a marketing tool, but I want you to really think about this because it's going to impact us, all of us, in what we do every day, right? So VMware, View 5, and Citrix as well can allow us to bring our traditional applications, right? You guys have been working on that thing called the cloud. You've been moving storage, you've been moving your apps into that cloud, we've created a window into it, and I can go about it this way until I get to that point where I can natively access these directly, right? Citrix, as an example, allows you to virtualize the application itself. You don't have to actually virtualize the desktop. But as an example here, and like I was talking about earlier with Mitel, I can actually virtualize the collaboration client, IM and everything else within that VM view and plug in my headset or my Bluetooth in my iPad and work away, right? Now I'm controlling it. I don't even have to put it on the iPad. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So I'm gonna move to this demo with a company called Arisma. Has anybody seen this before? Does it look familiar, sound familiar? So the way we do anything now, you know, how many times you go to the store, you're looking at a product, you start going to Google, trying to figure out, is this the one to buy, or learn something about it, you're not going to have to do that anymore. Matter of fact, anything that you can view with your iPhone or iPad, I can add context to it and show you what I want. So I'm going to give you an example. So I'm going to take my iPad, I'm going to hook it up.
Can you hook it up wirelessly?
There are devices you can buy that allow you to do that. As an example, one of the things we're not talking about today, but Promethean, the smart boards, which is another thing at some point that you should be learning about, which is an interactive whiteboard that allows you to basically replace everything in the conference room and integrate completely into it, so that I can do whiteboard sessions, presentations, and interact with them. And so I can do that via wirelessly. I can use an iPad. I don't even have to get up to touch the whiteboard if I don't want to. I can make the edits on an iPad on the whiteboard. So the school systems, as you know, if you've seen it, have been doing this for a while. Now it's here in the enterprise. We're integrating video conferencing and everything into it. It's a very interesting scenario.
The other thing you can do is use an Apple TV. Use Wi-Fi from the iPad to the Apple TV. When you're doing presentations, that's flying, it's not enough. Right. We're seeing in our business, we're starting to see folks carrying around small devices, plug it into that, that's way, using a remote control, using your iPad.
Of course it doesn't work when I have to actually do it. Oh no. There we go. All right, so what this is basically an application that runs on my device that I can walk up to anything, eventually, not today, but getting there, and get context or educated on it. So, as an example, in our last session we had Mattel Toys, unfortunately this app was out at that moment, he's looking to use iPads to put in aisles of the Walmarts and Targets of the world so that kids can come up and see a toy and look at the box, but come to an iPad and get an interactive of what the toy actually does. Right? Pretty cool. But what if I could tell you I didn't have to have a device there, but I can, the iPad and iPhone that I already own, I could walk up to anything and do that already. So as an example in this application, I've shown you some pictures here that allow me, as an example, the Lakers, to walk up to a logo without audio for right now.
Shoot your mic feedback.
Is it the mic?
Yeah.
So as an example here, I can bring up and look, I'm just pointing at a logo with this application and I get a completely interactive video. Audio and things, so you're not going to hear the audio right now. Or better yet, I can walk up to a $20 bill and make it completely interactive. So think of the educational aspect, right, for your kids. They can walk up, learn about the $20 bill right now. Or, we're in the Marconi Museum, looking at cars. Look at this bad car here. I can actually double tap this one and watch a video. So as I'm perusing the store, or anything, contextually I can grab onto it and get information. Let's take it even a little further. Let's say I just went and bought some food and I want to learn how to cook it. Yeah, you can you take a picture of what it is that you want it to recognize. Lost the screen, great. Anyways, I don't want to belabor the point, but what basically happens with that one, the food, is when I highlight it, just like the car, I double click on the screen and the video comes up and talks about how to cook, what are the different things. It's a chef. It basically tells me how to prepare and use their noodles. So this is the kind of thing you guys have coming, right? Your corporation, where you've been talking about digital media and putting plasmas on the wall. Think about it now if I start putting iPads, or people have iPads everywhere, right? The interactivity that I'm going to start getting, the way my company can go to market, the way that I can educate my team, the way I can do anything is about to change significantly, right? That's what's critical about this. This is just one app out of thousands of applications. So this is what you guys are confronted with. But in order to deliver again in the enterprise, is this enterprise ready? Absolutely. Is it capable of doing what you need to do? Absolutely. Do I have to build for it? Yes. So I'm not sure where you guys are at in the stages of your environments, but I'm sure mobile device management and wireless are your two hot topics right now. Am I about right? Raise your hands. Everybody's about in the same place, right? So I don't know if everybody heard what he said, but basically, right, content is now being developed here. It's not something that I'm looking at or downloading. It's something I'm actually developing, and I need to put it somewhere. I need to give it to other users. So that's part of what the strategy is that you have to work out, right? Do I use an application on the internet where I can store it? Do I build it myself, right? There's things like SugarBox and Google Docs and all kinds of stuff where I can do that, where I can collaborate, I can edit, I can change it. As a matter of fact, we're working with a customer right now that wants to take motion picture edits, right, on a daily basis. They're taking shoots out in whatever location. They want to upload them on the internet and let the editors go to work in a virtual state. That's really cool, right? Because today you have to ship it somewhere, download all that stuff. It's a big deal, right? We want to move it in the virtual world. Matter of fact, that customer's probably here, right? So that is a significant change to their business and the way they're going to do it. The cost savings, the way that they're going to manage it, is just entirely different, right? Because that content for them, especially if it's news media or something that's real time, they got to turn it around in minutes and hours. They don't have time to ship it and upload it and take days and time. It's got to happen now. So that's what this is, right? You guys have all seen, if you bought an iPad or an iPhone of late, that when you buy it, you can turn it on and go to work, right? In the past, you had to hook it up to iTunes. That's not true anymore. You know why? Because the majority of people buying them now, which are clearly younger generations as well, this is their first computing device. They don't own a computer. They don't own a laptop. They don't have a home computer. But they have this now. So, Christian, I think you're up. So we're going to move to security and management. Christian Rowland is our practice director for TIG. The goal of this session is to talk about, I know security is near and dear to everybody's heart, because we have to make sure that all this great information, this ability stays secure.